You know, one time, my wife and I, we collect antiques, okay? And I was, at one time, just say for instance, antique rugs. Rugs was coming out of everywhere. Because I had put it in my mind. I ended up with about 22 Oriental, not Oriental, but rugs. You know, old antique rugs and things. Good condition and so forth and so on. So I'm just showing you how your mind can attract whatever you put in it, you know. So these history books are just coming into my life, and I'm studying, you know. And you have to study the subject until you get a foundation and a concept. See, like other young musicians just come to me and say, "Hey man, I want to play jazz." I said, "Okay, what instrument you play?" "Well, I play the trumpet." I said, "Who?" He said, "Who you want to play like?" "I want to play like Dizzy Gillespie." Well, then you get every Dizzy Gillespie record that you can find, and listen to nobody but Dizzy Gillespie until you get a concept of what he's doing. And then after you get that concept and get you a foundation inside of you, then you can listen to any type of music, because you know what they're doing, because you have a foundation. So I had to do the same thing in studying history. You know? And a young man came to my museum, and I was telling him about some things that he was bringing to me. I said, "Well, historically that's not correct." So he was frustrated, so he ran home and got a great big old box of books. And he came in and he dropped them at my feet. He said, "Now, which one of these books should I read?" I said, "You take all these books and throw them out." I said, and I told him what to do to begin his studies. I said, then you can go back. Once you get your concept and your foundation in you, understanding what you are trying to achieve, then you can go back and read those books, and you know exactly what's in them. See, I can pick up a book and look at the table of contents. I can tell you whether the book has any value or whether I'm wasting my time. So anyway, I was down one day in the studio of one of my high school musician friends. We all came out of DeSouth High School. He was teaching a saxophone lesson. He's a saxophone player, still playing music. And he had a shelf full of books. So while waiting for him to teach his student and finish up with his student, I went over to his bookshelf and I picked up a book called The Outline of History. When I picked that book up, see, this all pertaining to how I got to discover. See, I didn't set out to discover and prove that there was no Jesus Christ. That's not my intent. That wasn't my intent. I had no idea that there was no Jesus Christ. I had no idea it was that. Okay? Because I had believed that there was a Jesus Christ. But even though my family were not staunch Christians, I went to church one time that I can remember as a boy. And my mother and I went to church, and that minister, old Reverend Chicken Wing, he said, "And God wants you." And I jumped up and ran out of the church. And my mother ran out, my heart is beating, and I'm sweating and carrying on. She, never went back then. You okay? I said, "You frightened me. And I want God to want me." May kill me, who knows? God may do like he did those tsunami victims. Huh? He killed over 250,000 people. Huh? I asked the religious people, said, where was God? All those people prayed to God, didn't they? But they died. Huh? Where was God? Huh? You see that? Martin Luther King's mother and father was in the church. They were good Christians. They prayed all the time. They got assassinated in there. Where was God? Where was God when the Europeans came into Africa and took our ancestors out and made slaves out of them, terrorized them in this country to make slaves? Where was God? You see? So that God is very dangerous. Okay? But getting back to how I came about the understanding of learning what the history of Christianity was about. So I picked this book up called The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. And next time I come, I'll bring that book.
Yes.
And I opened up the page to that book. And I saw an image in that book just like this. It said, under the caption of this picture, I said, that's Jesus Christ. But it says, Serapis. I said, Serapis? I said, this is Jesus the Christ. Looks exactly like Jesus Christ. Then I began to read. Now listen to this. I began to read on the pages that was attached to this Serapis image that we know today as Jesus Christ. I began to read that in the cult of Serapis, he is spoken of as the Savior. I said, what? I said, this is the same attributes that they give to this Jesus the Christ. Then it went on to say that he raises the dead. I said, what? Raises the dead? I said, this is the same attributes that they give to this Jesus the Christ. Then it says that even after death, you will always be in his presence. Don't Reverend Chicken Wing tell you all that at these funerals? Huh? Say, oh, Moses gone on to be with the Lord. Huh? You see? So I said, these are the same attributes that they're given to this Jesus the Christ. I said, wow. I said, what's going on here? So it says Serapis. And I put a tracer. I was focusing in on Serapis only through study. And I began to research Serapis. And I found out that this Serapis was given to the successor of Alexander the Greek. I don't use the Great because I'm not going to call no European great that tried to destroy my ancestors. I'm not going to do that. I can give you the Greek. That's the best I can do for him. Okay? Not the Great. And when Alexander came into Egypt, I'll tell you how it started. He is the first known European to come into the continent of Africa in Egypt. Historically known. Okay? He came in 332 BCE. Didn't have to have an army to invade. You know why? Because the ancient Egyptians never had an army. Nor did they have jails. They didn't have no jails. Civilized people don't have armies and jails. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Only corrupt people have jails. If you have a corrupt government, quite naturally the people living in the secular community gonna be corrupt. So when they get out of line, you put them in jail. Okay? And you have an army. What is your army for? To go around and terrorize other people around the world. Rape their women,
kill them,
take their land, steal from them, kill them, take their resources, everything. That's what you need an army for. Okay? Now, anybody seen the picture, the movie called Alexander? If you go to see Alexander, my wife and I, we went to see Alexander. It's a funny thing about Alexander, that movie. They showed Alexander killing, robbing, stealing, all throughout the movie. And they only talk about Alexander going into Egypt. They never showed Alexander coming into Egypt. You know why? First, if they showed Alexander coming into Egypt, they would have had to show Africans in Egypt. They didn't want to do that. Secondly, they would have to show that the ancient Egyptians had no army. You see? A civilized people, the ancient Egyptians, civilized this whole entire world. of all races, creeds, and color are using the civilization and the culture of the ancient Egyptian, right? At this very moment that I'm talking to you. You cannot go around to civilize other people throughout the world and then bust them upside their head at the same time, and rape their women at the same time, and plunder their land, and steal from them, and lie and cheat. You can't do that. You're out of cosmic order. Okay? You're out of cosmic order. You're out of cosmic order when you embrace a religion. You're out of tune with cosmic order. You see that? We have to bring balance back to this world. And we're the only people on earth that can do that. Bring balance. No other race of people can do that, because we are the Pied Pipers of the world. The world is following this American African Negro who's been trained to call himself a Negro, Black, and African American. The world is following us. If we turn our caps backwards, they do it too. They don't know why they're doing it. They're following us. Okay? When we do the lecture slide, they out there doing the lecture slide too. You see? So when we rap, they out there trying to rap too. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. When we hip hop, they wear them old baggy bitches and showing the crack of their behind. They don't know what they're doing. They're following this Negro. See, we're the Pied Pipers. See? And then they have a television program that comes on every Saturday. Okay? And what's the name of it now? Soul Train. They have Soul Train to teach white people and the other races of people how to dance. Why do you think that? Why do you think it's been on so long? Look, Don Cornelius got so old his face dropped. Okay? And they're going to retirement. Soul Train is still on. White folks, they out there every weekend trying to learn the latest dance, because we change dances on them every week. One week we're killing roaches. Kill that roach, squish, squash, you know. Next week we're doing the boogaloo, you know. So they can't keep up with it. So they do that by way of Soul Train. See? So when you embrace a religion, I have to interject all this stuff. It's all basically the same thing. When you embrace a religion, you're out of tune with cosmic world order. We're the only people that can bring balance back to the world. Okay? Only people. Okay? So, I'm talking about the American African. The American African. You see that? We're the only one. Because the other Africans out there, oh, miss, they out of it. Brother Clemson went to Ghana. He told me that Nigeria and and Ghana too. I've said Ghana. He went to Ghana and Nigeria. They had some of the biggest posters of this Jesus the Christ, white Jesus. Now you know about it. You know they're all on the bus praying and singing to Jesus. You know, so hey, we have to mark them off. We have to start here in America, okay? Where the leading Africans live, okay? So now, here you have, going back to the historical origin of Christianity. I found out that when Alexander came into Egypt, didn't have to bring an army like I mentioned, but he was in awe of what he saw. He said,